It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at U-Like, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Welcome to the Pete Sousa Show. We are in Flower Mound Studios, and so happy to have you with us on this Monday. Cam Stewart's in Boston, Chris Visser's in Disney World, and here we are in North Texas with a lot to get to today. Don't want to waste any time to tell you that Rick Barry is going to join us to talk to us about the NBA All-Star Game and the new ABA documentary called Soul Power that's streaming on Amazon. That is really, really good. And he's featured prominently, and I have a ton to ask him about the ABA, his career, and, of course, All-Star Weekend. He's been open about the fact that he thinks if he was playing today, he'd be extremely effective. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Rick Barry, also keeping my expectations low because he's no nonsense. So I'm ready to get knocked around a little bit. Happy President's Day. That is right. Kevin Fisher. Good call, man. Yeah. Let's go. President's Day is today. A lot of people are off. I know Cam in his past, he's a big President's Day guy, Columbus Day. But we got him working today. Cam, are you're coming off a pretty big weekend, right?
Somewhat. But I will say there's no chance you get me to work on Patriots Day. No chance. Marathon
Hey,
Monday.
That's true.
No
Yeah.
chance.
That's coming up.
Yeah. April.
I mean, if spring training start, I mean, like we're underway, right?
So you're thinking more just like baseball season, how we're feeling.
Yeah.
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 Hey, what was
It's right around
the
corner.
humor me? What was the edible count at this weekend?
I went out with some friends on Friday night, so I partook in a little bit more. I would say over the
What is taking it a little bit more?
Like usually I stick between like 10 and 12.
10 and 12 overall
milligrams?
gummies? Oh,
No.
10 and 12 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We probably bumped it to somewhere between I'd say probably 18 on Friday. And then back down to 10 or 12 each of the last 2 nights.
Okay, good. You sleeping okay?
Yeah, that was a big help. I was not getting great sleep last week, so that did help.
Grace was in New York City.
Yep.
Okay.
Left me alone on Valentine's Day. I think a lot of men out there were probably wishing for that Valentine's Day present, to be left alone. I just ended up going to a college hockey game alone, which was fine. It was fine by me, and she got a dress, so it worked out well for everybody.
Yeah, it did. It did. Those dresses can be expensive, but I think yeah, exactly. All right. You know what else is expensive? All right. I'll get back to you. Well, first of all, what's expensive is dealing with a BS insurance company if you get into a wreck. So thank you, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. What is inexpensive is stopping by Slovacek's when you're on the road and refueling, whether it's gas, whether it's food, whether it's matters of the heart, and fulfillment, connecting with people. All there at Slovacek's in West. If you're on 35, I want you to stop in there. If you need a car, go to Socorro Family Ford, Commercial Real Estate, Crawford Austin Properties. You go to a bank, you go to First National Bank of Central Texas. And the sponsors are continuing to come to the table. And Stephanie's doing a terrific job, our young saleswoman in Central Texas. She's absolutely crushing it. So Jerome Tang, all right, was fired yesterday. Initially, he was fired. It was reported he was fired. I saw it right as it came out because I was at an airport. Like, I just wrapped up. I did UAB in Tulane yesterday. A lot of fun, by the way. Rowan Brumbaugh. I mean, obviously, there's no second coming of Rick Barry, but Tulane's got a kid named Rowan Brumbaugh who was a preseason American Player of the Year. Phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm getting the chance to call the American tournament for ESPN. So, I mean, I'm dialed in. If you need to talk to somebody about the American, it's me. If you need to talk to somebody about the Big 12, it can be me as well. I got Kansas and Oklahoma State on Wednesday night. I'm pumped for that. But I'm in the airport. I'm scrolling, and it just pops up, Jerome Tang. I'm like, wow, it's happened. And I didn't think that would happen. I want to get into this personally, professionally, business-wise. I wouldn't say Jerome Tang is a friend of mine. I would say there are several of my friends who are very close to him. And he was always like, the first game I ever did being paid by ESPN, first basketball game, was Kansas State, Nebraska. And I went to shoot around in Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center. And, it was very clear they had something very special going on there. And that was the year they went to the Elite Eight. I think he's not getting enough. It's interesting, right? Like, he got too much credit early on, and now he's getting none at all for that run. I don't think, on a scale of 1 to George Seifert or 1 to Barry Switzer, I think he was like a 7 or a 6 as far as like what he had to do with that team accomplishing that goal of or reaching the goal of getting to the Final Eight. Of course, they didn't get to the Final Four. And losing and tough times can bring out I don't even want to say the worst in us, because this wasn't bad what we saw from Coach Tang, but we saw a lot of emotion. And that's who he is. He's very transparent. He's honest. And that's why by even talking to the media, we were always getting colorful answers and stuff because you knew he was going to tell the truth. So the moment he opened his mouth, he was at risk, right? With this team being as bad as it was this year. And I understand him getting fired. I understand the mission at Kansas State wanting to, or Kansas State just wanting to take the mission and change directions. Because look, man, you know, I'm not calling Kansas State a power, but I do call it tradition rich. And I think what happened, Rudy the boxer. Hold on, Rudy, I'm getting there, okay? What happened, I think, was that the bottom fell out and you want to switch directions. And I totally get that. Now, when you look at the way it went down, you know, initially, and by all reports, right, and I've talked to some people like kind of around it, being, you know, around the Big 12 like I am, they were earlier in the day, they were negotiating, right? Like, hey, where are we going to be with this buyout? And from what I've understood, they couldn't reach an agreement. So then they both backed away from the table. And then it was announced, okay, not only is Jerome Tang being let go, but he's being let go with cause. And when you do that, right now we got to fight over $18.9 million or something, right in that neighborhood, which is a lot of money, right? I was thinking, like, I always kind of wanted to be like Jerome Tang as a guy, but I definitely wanted to be like him last night when he had $18 million in the bank. But it turns out that's not the case. So I really, and it's interesting, right? Because it's not like, I'm just going to say it. I'm disappointed in the way that Kansas State has handled this. I'm disappointed that we do a lot of this in college football. You made the decision to extend the coach. You want to move on. Just pay the guy and get on with it. This is not a guy who you can, I mean, I think you would have to start every morning and search long and hard all day long and get ready to look under a lot of rocks and bring shovels and flashlights to find like fireable things that Jerome Tang has done personally. What he said in the press conference, which Gene Taylor, Kansas State's athletic director, mentioned last night, that it really concerned him. And he mentioned that, you know, he talked to Coach Tang afterwards and was like, hey, what was going through your head when you said this stuff? And he said, Coach Tang, and it sucks because it sounded like a real desperate phone call. You know, he's like, hey, Jerome, I'm paraphrasing, but like, hey, what was going through your head? And he said, when he was asked, like, hey, what did he say when you asked him that question? Gene Taylor said, well, he just kept saying, I'm going to fix this, which is like, you're kind of like, oh man, you know, it's sort of like a bummer for Coach Tang. And then you fire him for cause and you point directly to those comments that he made Wednesday night after they got blown out by Cincinnati. At this point, we all know him. We featured him here on this show. I knew, like, I'm not like this amazing producer, but for us, that was low hanging fruit. I was like, we're talking about this today, right? The Thursday after it happened. I think it is complete. I think it's fraudulent to link something that a coach said, which I find to be pretty sterile in the world of coaching post-game press conferences, moments after a 30-point like blowout that you're on the business end of. Again, it goes back to my days as a PR guy. Oh, we give players and coaches a cooling off period. But like, you know, and I don't like comparing the two things because it's very easy to poke holes in this comparison. But like when a guy comes off the battlefield, you know, like you don't just like stick a mic right in his face, or you don't expect him to have the most rational thought process when he's finished up, right? Like the same thing, like this is unto itself a battlefield. And these are the trenches for these guys. It's really frustrating. I mean, the same thing, like if you're in a fight with your wife or your significant other and you get finished with that fight, right? Like, and somebody puts a mic in your hand or in your face, like, yeah, man, you're going to say some things that are probably inflammatory and there's a lot of passion and emotion behind them. And if they don't have a lot of like, it wasn't the crucifixion. what we witnessed last Wednesday. And look, man, Rudy the Bear, I appreciate your sentiments. I agree with you, dude. It was time to move on. I'm not saying it wasn't. The way that this is going down, it doesn't seem right to me. And I'll go back to at the beginning of February. Okay, so we're talking 15 days ago. Rick Barnes and his Tennessee team had lost. He said after the game, sometimes I look at the box score and I watch my team play and I wonder if my guys bet on the game. Like, that is like really bad to say. And I don't think Jerome Tang came anywhere near that. I think he was pissed. I think he was disappointed. And I think he said what was on his mind and on his heart. You can't fire a guy for that. And if that's the bar we're going to set now going forward, it's getting extremely low. Unfortunately, I think we're just watching negotiations play out in the court of public opinion too, which, you know, provides guys like me with topics to talk about. But the truth of the matter is, it's a negotiation, right? Lawyers are involved now. This is so much bigger than us, and I feel as though we'll probably have, you know, again, last night we're all prisoners of the moment. I enjoy, you know, there wasn't a lot of like real, and that's the thing too. There wasn't awful things that were said about Coach Tang. I didn't see. I mean, you can clown a guy all day long for like losing and stuff. Like, that's kind of part of being a fan. Like, and that's where, you know, Twitter's not great, but it's not terrible. We're talking about a grown man here who's going to walk away with probably $10 million. Like, let's not cry for Jerome Tang, and he doesn't want anybody to cry for him. But you know, he was such a darling. And I think people can, you know, the come down and the crash on the other side of that is kind of you fall even harder. Here's one thing too that jumped out to me in what Gene Taylor had to say, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. Okay. And here's why. And this can happen to anyone if you quote unquote like go viral, right? And you're a professional. Gene Taylor was asked about those comments and what about them really moved him to let Coach Tang go. And he said the way that they were received both locally and nationally. So that speaks to me as whoever is producing PTI, or whether it was Mike Wilbon or Tony Kornheiser, maybe they're the ones who come up with all the topics. I don't know how that show, the sausage is made there, but by putting Jerome Tang in your A block as the second topic and talking about him for 2.5 minutes on one of the most watched television shows on ESPN, the most watched television show on ESPN, right? We're not talking about live sports. When PTI goes in and talks about Jerome Tang, and it got negative, not necessarily a character assassination, but they flat out said, Michael Wilbon said in that segment, Jerome Tang needs to run to the president of Kansas State today. He should have already done it by now and walked that back and said, I am ready to walk it back publicly, because you cannot say that. And I'm telling you, I truly believe in my heart, if that segment doesn't go up on PTI, it changes the way we look at this. And you can tell me I'm crazy, but I have an understanding of how this stuff works. Both, you know, working for a television conglomerate like ESPN and having been in PR, and just knowing like when you have something go out there, right? And it's something that I'm sure Coach Tang at some point may admit, like, man, I wish I could have had that moment back. I was probably a little bit too, you know, there was too much teeth to what I had to say. When you have a moment like that and you can't take it back, right? It's out there now. And then the public can do with it what they want. And then when you've got power players that grab onto this and they put it front and center for all the world to see, I think it can really screw things up. And it also speaks to, we're not talking about, and again, I'm sticking with PTI here. We're not talking about like a YouTuber or like, you know, a TikToker. Like, this wasn't necessarily like an online thing. And the guys who make these decisions are old and white, and they watch shows like PTI, right? Like, and so the alumni at Kansas State, so a guy like Gene Taylor and the president, this is how they get their content from SportsCenter and the local news still, right? And so a show like PTI, which has been around for 25 years, swings a really, really big stick. We'll talk more about this Jerome Tang thing as it goes on, but we got to take a break now because Rick Barry is coming up. Can't believe we're going to be talking to Rick Barry. I got to talk to him about Soul Power, the ABA documentary, and I am beyond curious to find out what he thought of the All-Star game and also his playing career and what he's up to now. I also want to find out how he met his wife, Lynn. I went to Richmond. She went to William & Mary and was a basketball star there. At which point he may tell me to kick rocks, but it's Rick Barry. He tells everybody to kick rocks. Looking forward to it. Coming up on the other side of the break on the Pete Sousa Show.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble does bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We continue on. Cam Stewart is efforting Barry, which this came out, which I love. I love. Cam really gives an SHIT, which is something that I enjoy. because he's back there sweating this out. This is a good point, Rudy. Okay. Rudy the Boxer says, when you're the head of an organization, you're on a different pedestal. He's the face of the franchise. You have to be professional all the time, or you do need to be a winner. Dude, now that's a great point. Like, for example, like what Rick Barnes said, I think was way worse than anything Jerome Tang said. Well, if you're just joining us, Rick Barnes a couple weeks ago saying, sometimes I think my players bet on the games. He said it publicly in a press conference, right? That's pretty embarrassing for the players, for the school. But, Rick Barnes wins. So it changes the way that you look at things. If you are the university or Kansas State University. I do want to give Gene Taylor some credit. He had to go in there, and this is like almost like a life lesson for me. I really feel like I'm constantly like, you're constantly growing up, but he mentioned that he had to meet with the players. Coach Tang talked with them at 7:30 for about 10 minutes. It was the last thing he got to do. And Gene Taylor said by the time he got in there, it was like really bad, emotional. Guys were crying. Guys were angry. And he said, look, if you want to be mad at somebody, be pissed at me. Like, direct it all at me. And I understand that. Like, I appreciate him saying that, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't love the direction we're headed. When you talk about, letting a coach go, you make a deal with him. And then you just say, hey, we're going to fire you for cause because you were pissed in a press conference. Okay. So again, we'll get you more on Jerome Tang. Again, I want to talk a little bit more about college basketball. Obviously, I got Oklahoma State and Kansas for NBC on Wednesday night. We're going to get you set for that. But right now, we're fortunate enough to welcome legendary Hall basketball player Rick Barry to the Pete Sousa Show right now, joining us from his home. Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Well, if it was any better, I'd be making a comeback in the NBA.
Well, watching that Soul Power documentary, it seems like you feel like you could. I love when you said that. I love when you said that. When you watch the game today, what do you think about your skill set translates?
Everything. I mean, I know how to play, and the guys back when I played know how to play the game the right way. There are guys playing in the NBA today that are really terrific players who would be better if they really understood the nuances of the game and the fundamental principles of the game and how to play the game the correct way. They're incredibly gifted athletically. They do things that I only used to fantasize about, but they just don't know how to play. Some of them are there just because they're so incredibly athletic and they're making millions of dollars, but they'll never be as good as they should be because they don't know how to utilize that amazing God-given talent in the most efficient and effective way.
How did you use your talent to become, averaged 35, 36 points a game in the NBA, 12-time All-League and NBA and ABA, all the accolades, right? Hall of Famer. How did you tap into your true potential and elevate your level of play?
Well, because I was schooled fundamentally. My father was a former semi-pro player and coach. And it really comes down to the fundamentals. When I talk to people, even in the business world, whatever your profession happens to be in your broadcasting, you have to learn the basic principles and concepts of whatever your profession is. The more knowledge you have in that area, that's the bigger the foundation that you're laying. You can't build a skyscraper on a small foundation. It'll topple over at a certain point unless it has a foundation to support it. And so therefore, if you really have that great foundation and learn the fundamental principles and concepts of what your sport and profession is about, you'll be able to maximize whatever God-given talent you have. Then if you're gifted in that area, then you can become a great player, a great musician, a great physician, or whatever it may be, because of the fact that you have a knowledge of the profession and you're able to maximize your potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even watching some of the ABA documentary, and I know that wasn't the fundamental capital of the world, but it was a beautiful sport. There was so much artistry to it when you guys, and you being at the forefront of that movement. And then I go and watch the NBA, and it's a tough watch, which breaks my heart because it's a sport that, I've followed my entire life. Do you think can it change at all?
Oh, it's gotten better. I mean, the thing is the league is a copycat league. They always try to copy the success that some people have. The only thing they've never copied is the underhanded free throw, which makes no sense to me. And I'm waiting to see one day before I die maybe some owner, some coach, or some general manager could have enough balls to be able to tell a player who is his employee, right? You're the owner of a company. It happens to be basketball, and you have employees that you're paying multi-millions of dollars to. They suck in one area of your business, and you don't have the right to demand that they do something the way you want them to do it to make them better and make the team more successful. And a player can say, I'm not going to do that. Well, hell, in the real world, you don't have a job. I mean, it's the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen in my life.
You shot 90. You shot 90%. You shot 90%.
I averaged 90. I averaged around. I right just below 90% for my whole career, but I changed my technique in the last 6 years that I played, and I shot over 92%, which would be the highest of any player. My last 2 years, I shot over 94%. I mean, Andre Drummond, when he played with the Pistons, missed 22 free throws in one game. 22 free throws in one game. In my final 2 seasons, I missed 19.
And in the show, in the documentary, you said you have to make 4 of 5. You can miss 1 of every 5 free throws.
Thank
to
you.
be 90%. Yeah, 80%. And you said,
Yeah.
how do you live with yourself if you can't do
That's
that?
exactly right. How do you live with yourself? I mean, my God, 4 out of 5. And it's the only part of the game where there isn't someone trying to prevent you from doing what you're trying to do, to score. You have the same distance, the same size ball, the same size basket every time, and you can't make 4 out of 5. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Has a team or anyone ever brought you in to teach a player that
No.
can't shoot free throws?
I
No,
had
never?
one player years ago. I had one player come to me. I had him shooting over 80%. He didn't have the guts when he went back to his team to do it. But no, I haven't. My teammate George Johnson.
Who was the player? Can we talk about it?
I'm not going to say it's irrelevant. So, but George Johnson, my teammate, who was not a very good free throw shooter, tried to learn how to do it. I never had him to the point where I wanted him, but he still made it to 80%. Can you imagine Shaq at 80%? At 80%, at the end of a game, Shaq, every game is over. All you have to do is throw the ball into him at the end of a game. If he gets fouled, he's going to make his free throws. He's going to get some 3-point plays. Game is over. I mean, it's such a negative for a team to be a bad free throw shooting team. And if you just figured out on a team as a whole, if a team were to shoot 80% from the free throw line as opposed to 70% or 72, where I think the general average is, they're going to win a lot more basketball games during the course of a season, because a lot of games are determined by 1, 2, 3 points. And the difference in 70% or 80% from the free throw line would be the difference between victory and defeat.
I mean, there you are right there at the free throw line. We got that image we just had up there. You look pretty cool. Like, so do you think guys don't do it because they think it'll look awkward or silly?
Yeah, that's what I hear. Oh, you look. Hey, who cares how you look? The object is to put the damn thing in the basket at the highest proficiency possible. And I didn't want to do it back in my day because the girl shot that way. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I can't do that. Everybody's going to make fun of me. And I remember like it was yesterday, exact words. Son, they can't make fun of you if you're making them. And I remember my first game on the road, New Jersey, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. I don't remember if it was my junior or senior year when I made the changeover. And I heard the guy from the stands in the second half, he's yelling, "Hey, Barry, you big sissy," shooting like that. And I heard the guy next to him say, "What are you making fun of him for? He doesn't miss." And from that point on, I was cool.
And yeah, you never seem to struggle with confidence. That's for sure.
Well, that's the key. That's the key to great success. When I talk to businesses and anybody else, I've learned that over the years. The real true key to, you can name all the qualities you want to say: dedication, determination, all the other wonderful things, preparation. You can go down a whole list of things. But it only boils down to, you have to believe in yourself and your abilities to do what it is you're trained to do. Now, if you do that and you have confidence in your abilities, you never in your life will experience the one thing and the one word that is the most overused word in sports lexicon, and that is the word pressure. How many freaking times do I have to listen to this? Well, the pressure's really on. I never in my life felt pressure on a basketball court because I had confidence in my ability to do what I trained to do. If anything, I wish every game I played in, if I could have control, would come down to the last 10 seconds, game on the line. I want the ball in my hands.
That's right. And I want to ask you about the pressure, because you had to have felt some kind of personal pressure.
No pressure. When you left. There's absolutely no pressure.
What about when you left the NBA to go to the ABA? That was a huge moment.
No, it's not pressure. It's high expectations. People have high expectations. For a year. Expectations is one thing. Pressure, I'll tell you, the bottom line is when I hear these guys say, yeah, well, the pressure is really on. Well, hey, if the pressure was really on and you felt pressure, more than likely you would have choked like a dog.
Yeah. So I want to ask a little bit about your move, though. That took some serious courage. Where did you find that courage to make that move? Because not only did you put the ABA on the map, right? Which ultimately changes the game of basketball, but you also that's a big move for someone in your shoes. Is it not?
Yeah, it was a huge move, but the thing is that basketball has always been fun for me. I always loved the game. I was rarely that a rookie makes first team All Pro. I did that in my first year. Then in my second year, I was first team All Pro again. I was the All Star Game MVP. I led the league in scoring and all. And we came within 2 pick and roll plays between Nate Thurman and myself against Will Chamberlain. And had those gone our way instead of their way, we would have won 67. We would have won the championships in 6 games. And I didn't have a lot of fun. It wasn't a lot of fun because unfortunately, Bill Sharman, God rest his soul, a wonderful person, but a hard guy to play for because he wanted to do everything the way he did, and he was fanatical about it.
And he was your coach at the San Francisco Warriors.
Yeah, we didn't get days off. I mean, it was crazy. He was mad at me during the playoffs when I set a record that lasted forever, and the only person that ever beat me was Michael Jordan. The only reason he did that is because he played an overtime game and had 8 points, which made the difference. And I was playing that entire series having to get shot before the game and at halftime in order to play. They would never allow me to do that today with all the money on the line. I mean, I'm lucky I didn't end my career. I'm playing, getting my ankle numbed so I couldn't feel it to play and scored 40 points a game. Okay. I'm trying to think, what the hell could I have done if I was healthy? And so, yeah, it's
Rick,
it's just a different world.
You mentioned Sharman. You bring up something that I did not know. Because, being a broadcaster, I do feed off shoot-arounds, right, for college and in the NBA. You said Sharman started shoot-arounds, and you were like, what the hell are we doing?
It's the worst thing in the world as far as I'm concerned. I hated shoot-arounds, okay? And we only did it, I know why the reason was, to get so you don't stay in bed, okay? Because in our day, we didn't fly charter and get in to get a good night's sleep. You got up, you got to bed at 2 a.m. trying to wind down after a game. You had to be up at 5:30, 6 o'clock to catch a commercial flight to get to the next city. Then you hang your clothes out so that, because you washed it in the shower to hopefully it'll dry before the next game. And you might go to bed to get some more sleep. Well, he wanted to stop that, so he started these shoot-around stuff. But we went in sneaks and jeans, and it was just to get you out of bed. It was all about that's what it was mainly for, get out of bed. His whole reasoning was, you want you to get used to the baskets and stuff. So, so one day we're in LA. So we go to Loyola Marymount for our shoot around. And I go, Bill, are we playing here tonight? And he goes, of course not. And I said, then why do I want to get used to these baskets? Okay. So his theory was bullshit. And so, but to me, and Wilt, I wish I could have done what Wilt did. Wilt, the greatest thing Wilt did when he coached him, because Bill left and coached the Lakers, and Wilt was down there. And Wilt didn't like same as me. He didn't like to shoot around at all. And I wish I had the guts to have done it, but I was only in my second year, so it was a little difference. He was a veteran for many years. He said, Bill, here's the deal. I'm showing up one time at the arena. Do you want me at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m, or do you want me at 7 o'clock at night?
I bet he took 7 o'clock.
He definitely took 7 o'clock at night, because here's the deal. Why do I want to waste 1 ounce of energy at 10 o'clock in the morning when I'm going to be playing 40 or more minutes a game that night?
That's one. You said that jumped out at me. I said, that makes a lot of sense. It does.
Well, the other thing that makes no sense to me is, the NBA never listens to me, is that why is it that we have practices on off days and you'll practice at 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, whatever? When do you play your games in the NBA?
99% of the time, night.
Thank you. So why are you not practicing at night so your body becomes accustomed to expending energy at the time that you have to expend it when it really means something, and get your body primed and conditioned to react to that on a regular basis? So it would make more sense to have your practices at 7 o'clock at night as opposed to 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Rick, this is amazing. A couple more questions for you before I let you get, I know you got probably a ton of stuff to do. When you go to the ABA, like I mentioned, the game was beautiful. Without the ABA, what happens to the NBA? Like the innovation that you and other players and really the rules brought to the NBA.
Well, I mean, everything in life happens for a reason. It happened, and it was great for the league. I mean, they got the 3-point shot, although that gets abused a lot nowadays. I mean, without the 3-point shot, if you can't shoot the 3-point shot today, you're never winning a championship. I mean, it's that simple. It's become such an integral part of the success of a team now. I think it's statistically, the team that wins the 3-point shooting battle in games wins 80% of the time. I think it's as high as that. So yeah, there were some good things that were brought to it. The up-tempo style, the fun. Then All-Star Weekend, they changed All-Star Weekend was a joke. I remember playing a game on Thursday night and Friday night. Flew into San Francisco on Saturday. Went to a dinner that night that they had, and played the All-Star game on Sunday afternoon. So it was a different world. And so, yeah, a lot of good things came out of it. The biggest thing for the players is that it was, I was Kurt Flood before Kurt Flood. Everybody makes a big deal about that. But this opened up the ability for a player to leave teams, not have to be locked into the reserve clause for a lifetime. And you could play out your option. You had a chance to move and had a chance to negotiate a better deal.
Yeah, that was a major thing. Like the NBA, when they were talking about a merger initially, NBA guys didn't want to do it because they wanted to continue to take advantage of the negotiating that came with these two separate leagues. You started all that. I want to get to All-Star Weekend. What were your thoughts about did you even watch? Do you care? The NBA All-Star Weekend is something you and your family have helped cultivate and bring it to another level, and now it's gone poof right downhill.
Well, it happened decades ago, and I don't know why, but somewhere along the line, the players all of a sudden didn't care about it. I think the money had something maybe to do with it, and but even then, the guys get paid more money. They get paid more money for losing the All-Star game than I made in probably my first 2 seasons playing. I mean, or more than that. Yeah, and it was disappointing to me because when we played, the game meant something. It was really a highly looked forward to game by the players, and a real honor to make it, and a real challenge to try to see if you could win and beat the other conference. It meant a lot. We played serious basketball in the All-Star games back in the 60s. And it changed, and it became, for me, no fun. I tried to get David Stern, God rest his soul, when he was alive. I said, David, why don't you just change the All-Star Weekend? Because it's a little bit of a joke right now. It's not even a game. Just call it the All-Star Exhibition. Because these guys are going out there putting on a show. They don't really care about things. And it was entertaining in that respect. But it's not a game. It wasn't a game. And to Adam Silver's credit, they've tried different formats to try to see if they can get them to play again. But this thing with the world and with the two younger and the older, it made a lot of sense to me because I was hoping. And Wembayama was very serious. The guys were serious. And I said, if the world team decides they want to try to show something by going out there and winning, they'll force the other guys to play better. And they actually, other than the fact that, the last game was a blowout, and which can happen. It's like having a bad quarter because it's only a quarter of basketball. And which was sad because all the other games were exciting and competitive. The guys were playing defense. It was actually fun to watch. And I'm hoping they continue to go with it. And I heard one of the guys, the commentators on TV, oh, well, it's such a shame, because the old guys ran out of gas playing 3 games in a row. Wait a second. It wasn't 3 games in a row. It was the third quarter. I mean, play 12 minutes. What the hell are they talking about? These are some of the finest conditioned athletes in the world. And you're going to say because they had to play 3 12-minute quarters in a row with some time in between that was the major factor? No, the major factor is that they shot the ball like garbage. They couldn't put the ball in the ocean, and the other team played well. I don't think it was necessarily the young legs that made all the difference in the game. It's just one of those things that can happen. But they found something that seems to work. The guys seem to be serious about it, and hopefully they can do it again. And here's the deal. Remember this. Jokic and Doncic didn't even play.
Yeah.
I mean, so, how good could the world have been? Because they barely lost as it was without 2 of the best players in the league.
What are your thoughts about that when you talk about, guys playing hard and playing serious? I love the story in the documentary about the 71 All-Star game, NBA and ABA at the Astrodome. That was like a watershed moment. I didn't even know about that, and I'm a hoops junkie. What was that like, and how hard were guys competing in that game?
Oh, they played hard. I mean, that was back in the day when things really meant something, and the ABA guys had things to prove, and the NBA guys didn't. Yeah, that was a big deal. Very, very highly contested game, and that's why I was so happy. I was so happy to watch them. I'm praying that these guys take this serious, and they did, to their credit. And hopefully, this will be the start of the way that they're going to do All-Star. Now you can call it the All-Star competition not the All-Star game because it's a series of games, the All-Star competition. And I liked it. I liked the stars, the stripes, and the world. It's a great format, great concept, and the guys bought into it. And hopefully next year they'll do it again and down in Phoenix, and we'll have four really, four really good games. I mean, it was just a shame that it happened that way, that the fourth way, because the other ones were right down to the wire, overtime. I mean, it was cool. Even the strategy at the end was kind of cool because they had a chance to do something where they could take a last second shot, a last second shot when you're tied for the world, and for a three to try to win if they were that close at the end. But the thing is, if you couldn't get a three, you don't take the shot. Why? Because you got to win. They had to win by 3 to get into the next round, to the finals. And so strategy-wise, you didn't want to do anything but a 3-point shot at the end of the freaking 12 minutes to try to win the game by 3 or go to overtime so you have a chance to win by 3.
Three more questions for you. One, when you watch basketball today, LeBron has said that this is a harder brand of basketball than it was when he started to play. Do you believe that? Like, athletes are up against it more?
No, what he has is he just has guys that are so physically incredible with the training that they have. They're big and strong and can do all kinds of amazing things. But to say that it's more physical, no, it was very physical when we played. I mean, they let so much hand checking and other things go on that they don't let go on in the regular season. However, the NBA, for whatever reason it is, and I never did get an answer from David Stern during his lifetime, and I've tried to ask Adam, I said, why do you want to allow the NBA playoffs to become so overtly physical? Because here's the deal. To allow all of the physicality that takes place, you're giving an advantage to the less skilled athlete. Well, it doesn't take any talent to grab and hold and shove and push. And so why do you want to give an advantage to the less skilled athlete? If you have rules in the game, they say, it's playoff basketball. I said, well, then show me the playoff rule book, because we're not playing by the rules that we played in the regular season. And I don't understand that, because you want to see these gifted athletes be able to do it. And I always tell people, if you really want to see the difference with the NBA, because there is a dramatic difference in the way the game's officiated in the playoffs and regular season. Look at players' performance and statistics during the regular season, and then look at what they've done in the playoffs. And I can guarantee you, the majority of guys, their statistics are not as good in the playoffs as they are in the regular season, and it's because of the physicality. You really, truly have to elevate your game in the playoffs in order to perform at the same level, let alone be able to increase your performance in the playoffs.
If you were to give the All-Star game, an All-Star weekend, that changes a grade, what would you give it?
Oh, this is an A+ for me compared to what it was. I mean, I didn't even care about watching it. I mean, I just, just to maybe, you'll see some amazing play that they do, but from the standpoint as a player and from what we did, and then guys are saying they got this record. I mean, I had the record at 38 points, and then all of a sudden these guys are scoring 50 or whatever, and this team's scoring 200 points. I mean, come on, it was ridiculous. It wasn't even as I said, it wasn't a game, it was an exhibition. And so now at least we know they're going to compete. If they do this in the future, this could be fun. I would look forward to watching this based upon what I saw. Even my wife, who was an All-American basketball player, ran USA for basketball for 12 years and understands the game tremendously, says, oh my God, they're playing defense.
Well, your wife was an assistant in Kentucky. She went to William & Mary. I went to Richmond to play football. Where did you guys meet? I was curious about that.
I met her when I was broadcasting. I did the Ted Turner's Goodwill games, and the women were playing in the Goodwill games as part of the coverage there. And she was in charge of all the women's basketball programs. So I met her at that time, and she's the only woman in the history of William & Mary in any sport to have a jersey retired. And I will brag about this. And I'll brag about this. My wife and our son Canyon are the only combination, mother and son, to be first team academic All-Americas.
The only ones? Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. When you talk about the history of the game, and I watched last night this documentary, and it showed how great you were, but also the physical toll that it was taking on you, because people were coming at you. There were cheap shots. They were guarding you harder than anybody else in the league. It's in the ABA. Did you watch Caitlin Clark the past few years and relate a little bit?
It was embarrassing what they were allowing to have happen to her, and I thought the commissioner should have come out, or the president. They usually call it the president. They don't really give her the word commissioner, because that was David Stern. He didn't want any other commissioner, so it was president. That was Val Ackerman. And my wife actually spent first 5 years. She helped the WNBA get started. She knew more about women's basketball than anybody at the WNBA. At the NBA, and so she ran USA Basketball for women for years. So she helped get the foreign players. She set up all the training and everything. And so, I said, wow, she should have come out and fined severely anybody doing what they were doing. Not just because if she should have done it for anybody, but not just because it was Caitlin Clark. If they had treated anybody that way, they should have been fined severely. You don't do stuff like that where you can hurt people. Come on, this is somebody's profession. And you don't act that way. What was happening to her were some of the cheapest shots and some of the most horrible things I'd ever seen. And here's the irony of it. Every woman in the WNBA should be sending her a Christmas present, because she changed the game. Every place they went to was sold out. The contracts you're getting for TV. She's helped those. Every woman has benefited by Caitlin Clark being in the WNBA and the publicity she's brought to the game.
How'd you like being a broadcaster?
Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun, but I was ahead of my time. They said I was too negative. No, I was too honest. What the problem is, they don't really. I feel like, who is it? Jack? No, it was
Jack Ramsey.
Jack? No, it's in the movie. It was Jack Nicholson in the movie A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. And people can't really handle the truth. And so I was truthful, because good things happen, bad things happen. I mean, I was told my boys when they get into broadcasting, and all of them have done a nice job one time or another. I said, boys, don't be the master of the obvious. People are seeing what you're seeing. You want to see something that they're not necessarily seeing, and you want to talk about that. I said, but you also can't. I learned, because I lost my job because I'm too negative. I said, okay, I'm not going to ignore the negative, but I'll accentuate the positive.
Hey, what about the Fountain of Youth? Where is that at? Honestly, I got to ask you. You look tremendous. Watching that doc, you're sharp as a friggin' tack. What do you do to stay so fit and mentally well?
Well, I have no control over that. Thank God. God has blessed me with good health. I try to take care of myself. I just refuse. I see some of these guys that I played ball with, and a lot of athletes in other sports, when they go to some of the charity events for golf and for now pickleball. I can't believe they let themselves go. I mean, my God, you're a world-class athlete. Why in the world would you let yourself go, especially since health is such an important part of enjoying life? You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, what the hell good is it? So, yeah, I just try to take care of myself, work out, try to eat reasonably decent. I'll never give up a good burger, but so I just take care of myself, and God has blessed me with not having any diseases or things of that nature. I don't have any real control over that. I mean, I don't think anybody does. So I'm truly blessed in that regard. And I told my wife, honey, you'll never have to worry about me ever getting fat, because I will starve before I get fat.
Rick, you're the best. I cannot tell you how grateful I am for you sharing time with me today.
Hey, let me tell the people, if they want to go to Medicilleaf, if they're into cannabinoid products, which I live with, MEDICILEAF, MEDICILEAF.com. RB24 is the code to get a nice discount on any product there. It's just amazing stuff.
Well, hold on. Tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Well, yeah, it's a company that I've been with for a number of years. I use it on a regular basis. So we have a new product that came out with that's an aloe-based product. That's
so this is the secret. You've been holding out on this. This is the secret.
Well, I mean, it's better than taking ibuprofen and all that other stuff and tearing up your gut. I mean, this stuff works. It really fights against inflammation. Tremendous formulations that we have. And so check it out. It can help you out. And then if you're into something, you got a bad, calf, like I just tweaked my calf on a fishing trip when I went running on the beach after I got done fishing that day, and I tweaked my calf, and so I use the calf sleeve. It's called Go Sleeves, GOSLEEVES. They have knee sleeves, which I wear for playing pickleball, and amazing product. And for your calf, helps the Achilles and the calf. They have elbow sleeves. They're working on some other products as well, and you can get a discount with the RB24 there as well. Go Sleeves, just an amazing product. And then if you're into pickleball, put RBTP24. RBTP24, TitanPickleball.com, TitanPickleball.com. Tremendous paddle for pickleball. I'm really big into pickleball. In fact, I actually won all the major tournaments. I'm actually one of the highest ranked players in the world in my age.
Why does that not surprise me? Why does that not? You don't have any competitive fire or athleticism.
I have to compete. I mean, competing is part of my DNA, and I had to find something. I got into long driving and golf after I retired. I was a one handicap golfer, and then I won world long driving championships my ages, and then they got rid of the old farts. So I had to find something else. My wife said, "Honey, why don't you try pickleball?" I go, "What the hell is pickleball?" And so I just got hooked on it. It's such an addictive game. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. Over 45 million people playing here. I'm involved in some companies involved with pickleball. In fact, we'll get on again sometime, and I'll be able to tell people about an unbelievable opportunity to get into a travel company that was $1 billion almost company before COVID, and now they're going to get started up again, and we're going to be doing also special pickleball dream trips and maybe some fishing dream trips, because I love to fish. I just got back from the Amazon jungle on an amazing trip, catching a peacock bass. And so, yeah, I got a lot of cool things going on that I'm doing, and be happy to get on and talk to you more about it. I just only get involved in things that I really believe in.
No, and we'll put the links to everything you just said in our show notes for this interview when we put it up. It'll live forever. And I'd love to have you back on when you do one of those trips around pickleball. Yeah, we would love to talk about that with you. I appreciate you, Rick.
Great to talk to you. And I'm glad that Chris put us together, old Chris Visser.
Yeah.
Known him I've known him longer than you are probably old.
I love the guy, and I'm lucky to have him in my life. And I'm really lucky he set this up, man. I can't thank you enough.
All right, my pleasure. Take care. God bless you and your listeners. And congratulations, Adam Silver, for finally straightening out and getting the NBA All-Star weekend where it needed to be. Now they got to do something about the slam dunk contest.
Oh, well, we'll bring your son back. How about we start there? By the way, that was the seal of approval you just gave Adam Silver. Thanks, Rick.
All right.
Take care. Rick Barry, the legend. What a treat. And I'll tell you, that's why he was such a great broadcaster. Not only such an amazing player, the guy is a direct communicator. And I love what he said too. I'm not here to get rah-rah, but like the confidence he talked about came from great preparation and fundamentals. Like that's how I get ready for games. Like sometimes I will over prepare to simply build my confidence up to get it to a point where I have no fear of failure. And when I'm in that spot, I'm in a good spot. Man, you can't tell I'm charged up. Cam, what about Rick Barry? Come on.
Oh, man. How good was that? I didn't expect the seal of approval. Just because I don't know, the way the NBA All-Star game has gone, but he loved it, man.
He loved it. A+.
A+.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll come back. I want to do 10 minutes on Providence St. John's. Rick Barry, thank you so much. Chris Visser, thank you so much. Medicinal Leaf, Go Sleeves. Remember those products and check them out. And, I don't have the codes memorized off the top of my head, but we'll put that in the show notes. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacic's back after this.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
How about that Rick Barry, huh? I mean, unbelievable. I'm putting up a little social post now just so people are aware. So create a little buzz, right? Because as Chris Visser says, buzz is not discovered. It is created, folks. From the mind of Chris Visser. Okay. What a show for a Monday. And quick rip here about, let's see, what's this? Didn't Jason Kidd stop Mavs shoot-arounds for a few weeks? No, you could be right. And I think a lot of the shoot-around stuff was awesome. Honestly, I think I'd be screwed as a broadcaster without it. So let's keep it going. But he makes a great point. I think if you're a responsible human being, an adult, like shoot-around isn't for you. But unfortunately, there's a lot of guys who it is for. So I don't think it's the worst idea. I can see why coaches do it.
Yeah, especially I was thinking about that, Pete, like for the NBA. You obviously get it for colleges, but for the NBA, it is kind of just like way to keep an eye on some of these guys.
Dude, I remember when I was working
who knows what they're doing all day.
My first road trip, maybe my second or third, but my first long road trip with Charlotte was we were doing a Chicago-Milwaukee. So we fly, you're very lucky. You take the charter flights and you land, and then you take the bus to whatever 5-star hotel you're staying at. And I remember Joe Sharp, the trainer, came down and gave everybody their per diem, myself included. And you pull up to a 5-star hotel in Chicago, and Bernie Bickerstaff had given the team the day off or something. I remember it was just like, okay, we'll see you like Tuesday. It was like Sunday. And I was like, what in the world are these guys going to do for the next day? Like, and I understand how you want to sort of rein those personalities in to just get like, hey, let's just check in. But man, what a great point. All right, let's get to Georgetown. I'm thinking Big East, Providence, and St. John's. Now, this was a situation that got out of control really fast. And my initial opinion of it, and this is why guys like Jerome Tang can get themselves in trouble at press conferences. My initial, honest to God, like truth serum here, my initial reaction was like, we are all so soft. We are clutching our pearls. It was a fight. And remember, I'm fresh off watching this ABA documentary where, and I do want to acknowledge, not quite the strength and speed maybe of the athletes back then playing in the ABA. But there was a fight every night. Okay. So the fight side of it, I can live with. However, getting the fans riled probably was a bad look for Providence. If you guys haven't seen yet, there's a breakaway layup by a kid who used to play for Providence. And the problem is a kid named Powell, I think. Hold on, let's get this right because I want to be able to talk about this like an informed individual. Cam, you got any names on that? The one guy played at North Carolina A&T.
It is Powell.
Okay, so Powell's the kid from St. John's that got fouled. And Duncan Powell sent Bryce Hopkins crashing. Okay, so this Duncan Powell, by the way, who looks like he's straight out of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, like with the hair on the back of his neck. He's been rocking that for a while. But like, you want to talk enforcer. Like yesterday, the game I was calling, Tulane's got this dude, Percy Daniels, and he's a bad dude, man. The guy averages like 2.5 blocks a game in like 17 minutes. I don't know what his deal is or what happens when he's in there for elongated periods of time, but the guy comes in and he's scary. Okay. This guy is is cut from the same exact cloth. And the kid Hopkins has a breakaway, and he's just kind of floating in, and all of a sudden Duncan Powell comes and just manhandles him, mangles him, dude. And the issue was after he mangles him, bench is clear, but he's celebrating the chaos. He's celebrating the complete lack of control that Providence coach Kim English has. And there was zero. I mean, I'm not saying you got to be contrite in the moment, but the kid's been suspended for 3 games. I'm surprised we haven't heard from him yet. Maybe we have and I missed it, but like, it's just a bad move. And what you're doing, there it is right there. What you're doing by making a move like this, okay, is like, now that is something where Kim English, if you wanted to come into that press conference, Providence, their head coach, and he could have completely annihilated Duncan Powell for this, because what Duncan Powell did was he embarrassed Kim English. He embarrassed him. He probably drove the nail in the coffin to get the guy fired, right? Like, it was so clear and again, this is now, I'm viewing this with a much cleaner perspective, like 24, 48 hours later, there was so much chaos and just lack of control by Providence and their coaching staff that I think Kim English is going to get fired now. I mean, I think he was probably going to get fired anyways, but now it's like, I would say it's almost a done deal. And it was clear the head coach had no control over that situation. No control. So this is what you have. And the guy who I called the game with yesterday, Perry Clark, he's not just a guy, just a transcendent coach as far as like being the first black coach at Tulane too, in an area like New Orleans. This is back in like 88 when he got hired. He's a trailblazer, right? Perry Clark is. And he's also was a goddamn amazing coach. He's got an amazing stories. He was like, him and Bobby Cremins were together at Georgia Tech. Then he won a ton of games at Tulane. He got the Miami job. He had Miami rolling, and then some stuff happened. And then, he ended up coaching with Frank Martin as an assistant in South Carolina when they went to the Final Four. And now he's just an awesome analyst and as cool as they come. DC strong, just very honest. So I said, Coach, I think I need you to straighten me out here. This was before the game. And I was like, I know I'm probably wrong, and I'm probably not the person to be making this comment in this conversation. You are the person. I said, but I feel as though we're all clutching our pearls this morning, and we're being a little soft as the way we're handling this. He looked at me like out of his side eye, like, I said, okay. I said, what would you do? He said, I told my team one thing: don't embarrass me. And if you embarrass me, we're done. And that guy and that team embarrassed Kim English. He said, I don't know. I'd have to think more. He said, but I don't think I'd ever let that guy back on the team. He would not play again. And he said that incident was such a bad look for Providence. It could be like a program bottom. By the way, and I love like hired guns and enforcers for maybe like ice hockey, but I guess let's get Cam going for this. Cam, when you talk about college basketball or basketball in general as a sport where you are really vulnerable, like 85% of the time offensively, like you're exposed, right? Anybody, if I want to punch you in the face, I can do it, right? It doesn't make me a tough guy. What do you think about the difference between hockey and basketball as to what's fair and what's not fair? Because if this move had happened in hockey, right, would it have been something that was way more digestible even at the college level?
No, because I'm glad you asked this. We hadn't actually talked about this because you kind of hit on it. Like there's an honor code. Like there's a line you don't cross. It's actually funny. This came up in the Olympics this weekend. You're not allowed to fight at the Olympics, but it happened anyway between Canada and France. And the France guy got the Canadian, like threw him down right away. And everyone was like, oh, he won the fight. And it was like, well, kind of, but it's Bush League. He didn't let the guy square up. Like they didn't even look at each other. They didn't get an opportunity to both drop the gloves and let's chuck them. So all that to say, there's a code here. There's certain hits you can't make, even if you're a tough guy. You don't hit a guy you don't punch a guy while he's on the ice. You don't take his leg out. There's certain things you don't do. And certainly I think basketball can have a bit more of an edge than it has right now. But when someone's in the air, no go, man. Like that, off limits, bro. Like that is way too
especially from
dangerous.
behind.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that would break
behind.
that would break like every honor code they'd have in hockey. And if they had one in basketball, it would break that too. Like there's certain things that I think players could be allowed to get away with, and there could be some more physicality. Like that is good for the game. But no, this kind of thing in hockey would have also caused a melee for sure.
Well, and that's a good question from Antero Sports, one of our most knowledgeable fans. Rick Pitino coaches St. John's, and he used to coach Providence. So there you have the bad blood in there. I heard guys like Jeff Goodman and other pundits around college basketball talk about how when what's his face Ed Cooley came back to Providence, there was kind of like the same deal. Providence is a hardcore town.
Right? Yeah, that Providence is a city that does not forget. And it does not, and it's got a reputation, right? And it was very connected. It was big in the boxing game for that reason. So there's not a lot of niceties going around Providence. I like Providence a lot, man. There's just not a lot of niceties.
There's grit, dude. There's a lot of grit. There's a lot of grit around Providence. I've spent some time there, and there's a lot of grit around Providence. And so this guy who was coming back to play, right? Not Duncan Powell, but the other kid. I got the story behind him, if people don't know, because I watched a couple podcasts about it. So Bryce Hopkins was a player at Providence, and he got hurt. And he was very quick to take Providence up on everything that they brought to the table as far as rehabilitation, trainers, doctors to get well and get better under the guise of, I'm going to continue to play with the Providence Friars. Well, Rick Pitino comes, right? Offers him a bag or whatever. I don't know the details. I wasn't there, but he goes to St. John's. So there's a lot of bad blood there, okay? And then you get this hired gun, a goon, Duncan Powell, to completely, and I'm not saying I don't think anybody put him up to it, but maybe they did. I have no idea. But it's just not, it all makes sense. But then again, it's all so ugly. And that's what Perry Clark was saying. Like, if you even sniff that there is motivation like that in a locker room, you got to shut that down. You got to shut that down because I got to let these kids know that they're not going to embarrass me. Right. And Kim English got embarrassed. And, the two different guys, the last thing I'll say about this, if you watch the guys get thrown out, Jalen Sellers was pissed the guy who played at UCF. Like, he got thrown out for Providence. He was throwing a chair. He was mad he had to leave the game. The other dude's like getting the crowd involved. It was a 1-point game, dude. And that guy was way more enthusiastic about the spectacle than the actual sport. And if he ever saw this, I would deny it and say this was AI talking, because I am very afraid of Duncan Powell. Very afraid of Duncan Powell. I'm not afraid of this show. We keep rocking and rolling. Cam, anything from you before we depart today? I mean, again, Chris Visser, that's a 5-star, dude.
That's a big time. Big. Not that, I mean, we don't expect anything less. You know, the guy comes through. And you want to talk about pressure. You know, I know Rick Barry doesn't talk about pressure. We're talking about a guy who's fighting through something right now and still landing some big guests on the Pete Sousa Show. That's huge.
Yeah, he's still sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on with Wicked Boston?
Wicked Boston, man, we're I got to turn the page, Pete. I got to get into Patriots off-season mode today. And I think there's a big free agent target that is going to really get some eyes popping around New England. A little tight end by the name of Kyle Pitts. Okay. Ooh. He can be franchise tagged by the Falcons. That could happen. But it sounds like he's going to want to move on, and the price is not going to be that high. And boy, could the Patriots use a weapon like that, because look, I don't know if Stephon Diggs is on the team next year. We're talking about opt-outs out of this contract. He's, you know, in a legal process right now. There's no guarantee that even after a pretty good year that he's still there. And I think Sam Kennedy, the president of the Red Sox, is just embarrassing the organization with the words that he said about Alex Bregman yesterday.
What did he say?
He said a lot of GMs say stuff, or executives say stuff like that.
The Phils are going through it too with
the drama, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, look, bottom line, if Alex Bregman wanted to be here, he'd be here. And it's like, well, no, you lowballed him and you didn't do the no trade clause, which I understand, but a lot of free agents are going for that. So instead of saying, hey, you know, we weren't willing to budge on this no trade clause, yada, yada, he said, well, if Alex wanted to be here, he'd be here. As in, it's not our fault. It's never our fault. We can't sign premium free agents anymore, but it's never our fault. Look, I don't want to give too much away from the episode, but it's
Wicked Boston. It's today.
It's some Olympic hockey, man. Olympic hockey.
Today at 12 Eastern or 1 Eastern.
12 Central. Yeah.
All right. That's where you can check Cam out. We'll be back tomorrow. We're probably going to start a little early because I got to catch a flight to go to Stillwater. But we got a ton of good stuff coming this week. I mean, if Monday's any indication, the fireworks display will continue. Make sure you go to the YouTube page, like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're still struggling getting like the Twitter promotion going. I don't know what the hell's happening, but that's on my end. I got to figure that out. So I apologize. We're not getting out there with the same vigor we were about a week ago, but we'll figure that out. And 365 Sports. Thank you very much for the opportunity. John Valade, Corey Dickman. All good, baby. We will check you out tomorrow on the Pete Sousa Show.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care.
We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Forts.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.